Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Jon Stewart at the New York Comedy Festival started talking about Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. John asked the crowd, "Are you excited about Mamdani? You're the ones moving out. Everybody's nervous. He's going to turn the city into a crap hole. That's why I moved here. Didn't we move here because New York's a crap hole? We didn't come here because it's nice. If you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere." John said, "I'm excited to see what the guy does." People say, "Are you worried about anti-Semitism?" John's tag, "I'll be honest with you, I'm not worried about anti-Semitism. I mean, I think anti-Semitism will be fine." Taylor Tomlinson heading back to television. Nope, she's not getting a late-night talk show. Those are over, apparently. She has filmed a new special at Michigan's Fountain Street Church, a one-year-old church in Grand Rapids. She did 2 warm-up shows on the 30th and 31st, taped 2 performances on the 1st. She also directed this special, her 4th. Netflix has not yet announced a release date for the new special. Matt Rife will have a special, this one called Matt Rife Unwrapped, a Christmas crowdwork special. This one will be out on Netflix on December 2nd. On the MarySue.com, Rachel Leishman wrote, "Matt Rife is now doing a crowdwork special since his jokes didn't work." Rachel, apparently not a fan, writes, "Matt Rife is a quote-unquote comedian who often uses his crowdwork to make people think he's good at stand-up. So when his stand-up specials inevitably failed, people realized quickly that he isn't as funny as his TikTok page let people believe. Now the quote-unquote comedian is releasing a special built entirely around crowd work. Why is that? Oh, because that's what Rife was quote-unquote good at." Rachel Leishman writes, "I don't like Rife's style of comedy. It's not really stand-up. He just basically has a conversation with people and says things that people might deem funny, but he's not going into comedy shows with jokes prepared." I'll comedy snob along with you here. Sure. But you have to understand, the casuals sitting on the couch, they hit play on Netflix. Did they laugh? Did they not laugh? Did they have a good time? Did they not have a good time? And they're going to have a good time watching Matt Rife do crowd work. Now, if you want to stand in the back of the Comedy Cellar and smoke cigarettes and be a snob about it, I'll hang out with you. I get it. I do it all the time on this podcast. Rachel writes, "When did he prepare his jokes for his previous stand-up specials? They were sexist and not at all funny. So what does it say about him as a comedian? He can talk to people, but ask him to write something and it's going to be offensive and rude?" She ends with, "So if you want to spend your holidays with Matt Rife, I guess your Christmas wish came true." I don't want to spend my holidays with Matt Rife. I mean, he's welcome to come over. I'll hang out with him. But the special's out December 2nd, which, isn't really the holidays, is it? Brett Goldstein, who has one of the best comedy specials of the year, he's going to star as an accidental male escort in a new series for Amazon Prime. It's called Escorted. Brett Goldstein will play a divorced father in Manhattan who accidentally becomes a male escort in this romantic comedy about second chances, the mayhem of co-parenting, and whether real intimacy can ever be bought. Copywriting rule of 3. You want more things to watch on TV? Okay, how about Mike Tyson's Return of the Mike Tour? Mike is going to film a comedy special December 14th at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood. Mike, who did not appear at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, has done some worse things in his life. You can look up his resume. But I guess we're all cool. Sure, comedy special. Why not? Hard Rock and Netflix announced that Mike Tyson's highly anticipated live show Return of the Mike will be filmed for an upcoming global Netflix special, giving fans worldwide the chance to experience the boxing icon's most honest and hilarious performance yet. Mary Beth Barone, she's getting a Netflix special, that's right. Known on the stand-up side for her self-aware, darkly postmodern material, Mary Beth Barone is also a writer and actor. No date yet on that special. Mindy Kaling is working on a new comedy called Not Suitable for Work. That'll be on Hulu, so you're going to have to decide. Do you support fascism and the ABC Disney company? Or do you walk all the way upstairs and get the Scrubs DVDs like those of us who are for freedom are doing? Up to you, whatever you want. I like this bit. Not Suitable for Work has added 12 new cast members. That's a lot, Mindy. 12? This does not include the 5 already announced leads. There's 12 additional people. What are we doing? Victor Garber will play Wes Dryden, the host of a prestigious investigative journalism show. Greg German is David Teitelbaum. Josh's father and the powerful chairman of a major media conglomerate. Judy Gold will play Paula, longtime producer at the West Dryden Show. Egil Nwodum will play Kate Woodson, the assistant head of school, an exclusive all-girls private school in Manhattan. This sounds horrible. Harry Richardson has been cast as movie star and internet boyfriend Austin Blanchett. Constance Wu has been cast as Vanessa Sue, an intense and demanding celebrity stylist. Laura Bell Bundy has been cast as AJ's mom, Amy. Stella Everett will play Vivian, who's Josh's girlfriend, who takes pride in her work as a social worker. Mei Hong plays Jocelyn, an associate at the New York investment bank Fisher Stassen. What are we doing? Bhavesh Patel has been cast as Dileep, a VP at the New York investment bank Fisher Stassen. Oh, there's more, and I'm not going to stop. This is what Mindy Kaling wants you to watch. Amelia Suarez has been cast as Elena, a smart and capable intern at the West Dryden Show. Michael Benjamin Washington has been cast as a landlord and aspiring dancer, Antoine. There's no premiere date yet for Not Suitable for Work. It'll be on Hulu. Again, if you want to support fascism, you can get Hulu. And remember, as we've learned this week, hilarious is where your career starts to go on the downside. Hi, Mindy. How you doing? You want more TV? I have more TV. Rory Scovel has been tapped as the co-lead opposite Rachel Bloom in an ABC half-hour pilot, Do You Want Kids? Now, ABC and Disney, those are those guys that kicked Jimmy Kimmel off the air. So you got to decide. Do you like Rory Scovel or do you support fascism? You got to pick here. Did I watch Monday Night Football this week? I didn't. I have YouTube TV where there is no Disney. There's no conflict there. And I still won the football pool, Scott Beckett. I don't need to watch the games. I'll just pick. I even told Scott Beckett what the system is. I'll tell all of you. If the spread's more than 3.5, take the points. That's it. That's the entire system. Anyway, on the fascist show Do You Want Kids, Rory plays Alex, Rachel Bloom plays Rosie, and the show delves into how their lives are dramatically altered in a sliding doors-style exploration of one universe where they have a child and another where they don't. That is way too complicated for an ABC sitcom, even in the time of freedom. ABC viewers can't handle that, guys. Vanity Fair asked David Cross about all those people that were going to leave the country if George W. Bush was reelected. Cross said, back then, I thought it was a little hysterical and hyperbolic and dramatic, and I certainly didn't engage in that, but the difference is all the things we've discussed. ICE is a bunch of Proud Boys. People who enjoy beating people up, enjoying that kind of power, and are now being given badges and guns and told, go get them, boys. And if that person points their camera at you and they're filming, you can go and curb stomp them. That's fine. And that old 65-year-old priest is trying to say, please don't shove them in the street. They don't care about anybody but white nationalists. That's who's in the streets now. So that's different. You know, there's no law anymore. So yeah, things are a bit different. Katt Williams has defeated a lawsuit over a Midtown brawl. This news out of Atlanta. Katt had been accused of assaulting 4 women outside an Atlanta club in 2016. The reports say with a legal technicality, Katt Williams has dodged the lawsuit. The case was thrown out last week by a federal judge who said the women missed their deadline to serve Williams with their complaint, despite receiving authority to use the U.S. Marshal Service. That's all I know about it. I would like to tell you more, but that's all I have.
Gossip Corner, whispers in the street. Gossip Corner, probably about Pete. Gossip Corner, where the rumors meet. With Johnny Mac, it's always a treat.
We are on Gossip Corner, and it is about Pete from the sun, which is not only the star at the center of the solar system in which you live, which gives you light and heat. It's also a UK tabloid, and they say Pete Davidson and Colin Jost Staten Island Ferry wreaked havoc. I made myself laugh at my dumb joke, sorry. Wreaked havoc on the New York City Marathon and caused major delays for runners. Now, I, as you know, am a 2-time New York City Marathon finisher. So I am on Team Marathon here. What did these horrible ferry people do? The ferry guys, they got some money from Nike. The ferry was painted red with Nike branding and the text, NYC won't carry you, it pushes you, run. The ferry was tugged into the waters near the Verrazano Bridge. A source tells The Sun, again the newspaper, not the star at the center of the solar system, Pete and Colin's ferry caused a delay for runners taking the ferry to Staten Island for the start of the marathon. Some people thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. You see, the runners' ferries were leaving about 20 minutes later than they should have. And they were told there were issues with Staten Island helping the guys with the ferry. It was causing a backup on the river. Everybody was already anxious, so it was a bit frustrating. Now, I can see that being stressful. As you know, I'm a 2-time New York City Marathon finisher. And when I do the race, I take the ferry there because it's nice. You know, you get to like chill out on the boat a little bit and look out and you see the Statue of Liberty and you get good views of the New York Harbor. But then you have to get on a shuttle bus, and then you have to get to the village, and you want to time that because if it's a little cold, and it was a little cold this year, you don't want to get to the village too early because then you're just standing around freezing. And then you have to decide, am I going to run in this sweatshirt that's keeping me warm, or do you throw it away? I did it one year. The second time I did it was warm. I just ran in what I brought. The first year, they had a system where a lot of people just throw their running gear away and just, I don't know, I'm a bartender's son. I just don't think that way. So you could pay to have your like extra sweatshirt shipped back to you, which is what I did on my first marathon 12 years ago. I digress. So anyway, I could see how that would be stressful if you're like, hey, I just want to get to Staten Island. Why is Pete Davidson's Ferry in my way? From Cron.com, John Mulaney spotted at a museum. Yeah, he was at the Menil Collection in Montrose. The museum posted, John Mulaney dropped by the Menil Collection this morning following his tour stop in Houston this over the weekend. Thank you for visiting. Out today on the 800-pound gorilla, Angela Johnson Reyes' Say I Won't, the Spanish dubbed release. That's interesting. The New York Comedy Festival continues with almost no buzz. Told you. It's a big city. The lineup is just not there this year. Love the people, but they've had bigger in the past. All right, let's check out the schedule. Oh, look, they listened to me. They added a new button where you can start with the date you actually want to look at. Wow, imagine that. Okay. I'm not reading you everything. I'm just going to tell you if I see any big names. No. Morgan J at 7. Let's see. No. Morgan J Show at 7, listed for a second time. I've told you this is not the best website. Let's see. No. Oh, boy, they are extra sloppy today. Connor Wood presents Fibs and Friends, listed twice. He's at the Gramercy Theater at 7 o'clock twice. No. The ever-so-serious Hari Kondabolu. Yeah, he's at Union Hall at 7:30. Good comedian there. Serious man, but very good comedian. Anthony DeVito and Friends. Is Anthony DeVito a name? 8 o'clock at Grove 34. Emil Joachim, is he a name? I guess. He was on SNL, 8 o'clock at the Arlo Williamsburg. Boy, his show's listed twice, too. Come on, New York Comedy Festival. Get this together. What are you doing? Natalie Cuomo. Is Natalie Cuomo a name at the Bell House at 10 o'clock? And like 5 more no's. That's the New York Comedy Festival tonight. The Flyover Comedy Festival kicks off in St. Louis. Their headliners include Aziz Ansari. He's just back from the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so his tours included St. Louis and Riyadh. Kyle Kinane, who's a great comic who was not at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Patty Harrison and Dulce Sloan. Should we see if their website's any good? We should. All right, I'm clicking on schedule here. All I want to know is who's playing. Oh, they have grid technology. Wait, maybe it's time for me to just end the podcast. I may have completed my life's mission to have a comedy festival put out a schedule that is actually usable. Good job, Flyover Comedy Festival. See, here it's really easy for me to tell you Kyle Kinane at 8 o'clock. We would absolutely go see Kyle if we were there. This is great. Bookmark this one for tomorrow. Tracy Morgan spoke to CBS about his time on Saturday Night Live. He said, when I first got there, I felt socially pushed away because it is like the whitest show in the world. And I don't want no one to portray me in a way that wasn't true. It was like I had the whole black community on my back. Lauren let me know, Tracy, we didn't hire you because you're black. We hired you because you're funny. And that changed it all. That's where I let go. And I let God. Jim Breuer was on the cast at that same time, and he was friends with Tracy. Jim, what were your SNL days like? Jim said, overall, I have great memories. I come from a very blue-collar family. We never went on vacations. We lived near JFK Airport. My dad worked in sanitation, sometimes would bartend during the week after work. My mom worked, too, for Pan American Airlines. So, being this kid from Long Island, I couldn't believe I was getting to meet all these bands. Stars came on the show. I really enjoyed that part, but it was really extremely competitive. And there were a lot of egos and some backstabbing. That was tough. I also wrestled with some things I witnessed or learned about certain celebrities. My eyes opened. I couldn't believe how they could get away with particular things. The mature me today could handle that. However, back then, I really struggled emotionally with some of what I saw. All right, Jim, did you have a favorite memory from SNL? Jim says, one has to be meeting Joe Pesci. I did an imitation of him, and he went out of his way to do a sketch with me. To sit and have a conversation with him was just incredible. I also enjoyed meeting Jack Nicholson. At the time, those guys were my idols, but my all-time favorite memory is making Lorne Michaels, a man who's seen everything and everyone, lose himself after the first time I imitated Joe Pesci and did Goat Boy. To watch him not be able to control his laughter, that's a moment I will never, ever forget. And that is your comedy news for today. I'll catch you tomorrow.